Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. This is Talk Wrestling, episode number 92. You are watching us on the premier wrestling website in the entire world, NoDQ.com. And with the introduction of NoDQ.com, I'm going to talk about the 10th annual NoDQ Awards. Before I get to my picks for this year's awards, I want to get you guys' nominations. You can submit your nominations to NoDQ, M-I-S-C, NoDQ Miscellaneous at yahoo.com. The polls will be opening December 1st with a new poll each day. All right, headline of the year. You know, a lot of people are going to say, well, you're biased, and it's because you're a Hulkamaniac or whatever. There's been no bigger story in years than Hulk Hogan signing with TNA. So that's the headline of the year by far. I firmly believe that. Pay-per-view of the year, WrestleMania 25. And again, that wasn't the best WrestleMania I've ever seen. So for it to be the pay-per-view of the year is saying something because the rest of the pay-per-views weren't on par with that one. Diva or Knockout of the year, although I think the award's just called Diva of the Year, Melina. She bounced back from losing the Women's Championship, came back a couple months later, and immediately won the Divas Championship upon her first night on Raw. It's hard to argue against her. Comeback of the Year, I gotta go with a tie there. Both of these entities disappeared this year and came back, roaring back, and made a huge impact. DX made their comeback this year after being gone for the earlier part of this year and came back and had raging success against Legacy, both at SummerSlam and at Hell in a Cell. And The Undertaker came back from his hiatus after WrestleMania and won the World Heavyweight Championship. So both those guys, Undertaker and DX, oh, three of those guys, excuse me. Heel of the Year, I was torn between these two. I really was, but I got to go with Randy Orton. Randy Orton was a three-time WWE champion this year. He was the ultimate in heel. He even went after the McMahon family earlier this year, you know, and attacked all of them. So, even Stephanie. So, hard to argue against that. Breakout Star of the Year, hard to argue against Sheamus. You know, he's been a big-time player on ECW, and he's made a huge impact on Raw in the last few weeks. I know people say, Sheamus is so goofy. But you know what? He's made a huge impact, and I don't see any bigger star, breakout star. I mean, you know, you could say Jack Swagger. He won the ECW Championship earlier this year. So I'll say either Jack Swagger or Sheamus. How about that? One of those two. And the match of the year comes from WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker. I don't think it was a better match this year than Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker. I really don't. Babyface of the year, I mentioned him a second ago, Jeff Hardy. There was nobody cheered more in WWE in 2009 than Jeff Hardy, I don't think. You know, everybody goes, oh, what about John Cena? Everybody loves that idiot. Yeah, I know. But Jeff Hardy got the biggest pops consistently every single night he was on the show. Finisher of the year, won him 3 WWE championships, so I'm going to go with Randy Orton's RKO. For Feud of the Year, honestly, it didn't last that long, but it really felt like it did. It went over a couple pay-per-views. A few pay-per-views. Jeff Hardy versus CM Punk. That's my pick. It's the feud that turned Punk heel. It's the feud that really got Punk launched up in the next level of heeldom, if you will, and made him a bona fide World Heavyweight Champion. Made Jeff Hardy a credible world champion, so that's always a good thing as well. Theme song of the year, DX. Announcer of the year is going to be somebody that I'm going to get a lot of flack over, I'm sure, but Matt Striker is my pick for Announcer of the Year. He's been consistent all throughout his various moves to ECW and the SmackDown and everything like that, so I think he's the best. Stable of the year, the Main Event Mafia, I was going to say at first, and I realized they've kind of tapered off and kind of broken away from each other, so I'm going to go with World Elite as a Stable of the Year. Tag Team of the Year, again, hard to argue with success, ladies and gentlemen. Chris Jericho and The Big Show, Jeri-Show, has been the tag team of this year. No question about that. Catchphrase of the Year, I don't have a pick, because I really didn't have any particular catchphrase stand out to me this year like they have in recent past. So I'm not making a pick there. You guys make your own picks again. NoDQ, M-I-S-C at yahoo.com. And the Superstar of the Year, the Wrestler of the Year, whatever you want to call it. Aaron called it Superstar of the Year, so I'm going to go with that. Again, 3-time WWE Champion just this year alone. He beat some of the best in the business this year. In the latter part of last year. Randy Orton is my pick for Superstar of the Year. Again, you can nominate your own choices right now at NoDQMISC@yahoo.com. Polls open December 1st with a new poll each day coming up at the the beginning part of this month. Check out NoDQ.com for all your latest news and info, and we'll see you next time on Talk Wrestling.